You got to stay alive. You have to make it past that early game. We already have seen Surge has been an issue for several different teams time and time again. We haven't seen the same teams reach the same kind of issue. So it's just a reoccurring problem for different squads. You just don't know who's gonna basically catch the Surge bug, right? Who's not gonna find the tags.
And it's Surge at different stages too. Generally, when we see a team who has problem with Surge, it's like, oh, it's always that third zone Surge that is really, really giving us a hard time. But we've been seeing some teams hit with that fifth zone Surge. We've been seeing a number of teams like just not be able to wait it out or accurately assess how much utility they have or whether or not they can really take a fight. And then we've also, I think, seen one or two teams really get hit with the seventh zone Surge where it's like, hey, just turn for a second and shoot your gun and you'd be fine. So maybe it's teams just trying to adjust a little bit from trios to duos and get used to those numbers, but I think we're seeing a little bit cleaner gameplay over the course of these 6 games so far.
Yeah, definitely. The gameplay is there. And just on the bubble, though, Miro and Booga jump up to that 114, tied with Commandment and Stretch. What a little race we have now in the final moments to see what players can just manage to stay consistent and close out this tournament here. This is where the real pressure's on. This is where you kind of sit down, you look at your duo, and you talk to him and say, we have this. We're right here. Just buckle down, keep doing what we're doing. But the most important thing is walking the walk and stepping up to the plate.
Walk the walk, talk the talk, but enough talking to cover the match. Let's get into it. Game number 5.
The first qualifier of the FNCS is here, and it has not disappointed so far. What exceptional matches we've managed to cover so far. This is game number 5. Monster D faces Sundown on the mic right now, ready to bring you guys the action as we get to see our first glimpse of players dropping down. How will the map, how will the bus favor you today? It's going to the eastern side. Now, so far, Sundown, let's talk about these zones, right? They've been sort of scattered in the northern side. We've had 2 west sides, 2 east sides. We're about due for some southern and center play here, potentially.
You think so? I don't know. It feels like when you end up like pulling only towards one side, it just kind of gets that little bit of momentum, that little bit of bump. I mean, I feel like we've seen a little bit more bugle in play zone-wise than I generally would. We've had 1 or 2 pull either near it towards the end or right over the top of it. We're going to hop right back on board here with what's been probably the most interesting and polarizing. Taking the fight, the way they've been taking this is they'll fight on the backside of Covert Cavern towards that slurp truck to try and make sure they get the immediate HP down onto themselves and then go over towards the llama. And I mean, it's just having a disengage going over. We'll put the shield cake down. I apologize, not over on that side. I misspoke right off at the start, but they'll end up popping this and get as much as they can, and then they will basically go coin flip and see what happens. As again, speaking of coin flipping and see what happens, top left corner, P-God ends up picking up dubs right off at the start.
The one thing I do want to talk about, though, Degen and Yamcha, after that last game, they neutralize the threat, sort of, right? They have officially put themselves a singular point above Knifer and Byla, so it's 77 to 76. They're quite literally looking at each other eye to eye as adversaries here, and this is going to be one of the most important fights right now. Can they win this and then drop a top 10, basically? Because the teams that have won this drop have equally and rightfully went all the way to endgame, so it's pretty clear. But hold up. That's someone else. That's Goofy on the other side of the wall. Has there been a little bit of a mix-up here? Yeah, they're wrapping around. Degen and Yamcha switching up the strategy here. Very interesting.
Trying to find a little bit of a different angle, saying, hey, maybe if we can just change the pace, change the tone of this first fight, we can end up in a better position. Unfortunately, by going a little bit higher up the mountain here, they've opened themselves up to another sightline. And if you keep an eye on the bottom right-hand corner, now there's another duo also rotating in above them, and things have officially gotten weird. Normally talk about things starting to get weird. Things have gotten weird.
This is like, hey, we got a plan, and then abort plan. They're just playing by gut instinct at this point. Let's try to stay alive. Nosh and Goofy, this is their drop. They have a much better understanding of this entire layout, so the advantage is surely in their side. Not only that, they've managed to loot the majority, half of it, right? You could just tell by Nosh's loadout there. It's pretty good. Now, look at the number next to their name. You have your 11th place team and your 9th place team potentially looking to clash right now. This is such a big moment in a big fight. All of these tags, every mat dropped right now is so important to this team's success or failure at this point.
You don't want to end up in that situation where you just need one more wall. Again, Slacks wish he had one more wall right now. Right as we talk about it, does have the advantage in terms of HP, but he needs to find an angle. Some great movement from him to create shots, but not enough as Duke and Jamp are able to hunt that one down and try and get themselves back into the game, back into the tournament a little bit, as sitting only on 15 points doesn't necessarily bode well.
Yeah, this is the first instances of their success so far today, so everyone gets their little moment in the highlight. Other fights that are going down around the map, though, in case you missed it in the feed there. Teed and Owl roll up. They find Diego, another man in a vehicle, just trying to stay up here. He's going to jump out. He's got nothing to lose at this point because the vehicle's about to go down. He goes toe-to-toe with Teed. Teed tees him off. GG's. Here's that perspective from Duke. As he wraps up. Slacks there. Pretty quick on the draw. Quick on the shot there. 2 elims for them. Doing a little bit better than the others in that package, but still pretty much a ways off.
Mega getting cleaned up by Epoxy there. So you can see that elimination coming through in the top left-hand corner of your screen. You can see Polarized and Nico trying to make sure they min-max out on their gauntlets as well. You can see only 2 charges in Nico's. I believe there was 7 in Polarized, so you don't generally want to end up with a disparity between the two of them because it makes them really tough to end up using efficiently. We talked about how in duos you almost always want to be sitting right on top of your opponent, and boom, there you go. They're trying to figure out where the best ones are. Yep, that's an 8 and a 7, and they should be able to walk away happy now.
Yeah, definitely. They got exactly what they came to this side of the map for. Those mythic hands to play with here. These spider web slingers will get you everywhere you need to be, end game, early game. Speaking about them, Bank just rolls up on Logjam right now. Big fight going down. It's on to Duke, who just picked up those elims, and great angle, and another even better angle. Unreally say, hey, you forgot about me. You open up the side here. Out comes the edit, and it's just heavy to the face. GG's there as he wraps things up, gets the full thirst out. But Unreally is by himself now. Has to play this out. There's obviously that solo there, and Duke and Degen and Iamzo who come off the split drop again. Iamzo and Degen, this is really just not a part of the strategy usually. They've gone north instead of south to the zone this time around. They are just taking this game and basically going with the flow, right? It really feels like they're just like, whatever. Like, let's just fight it out. Let's see if we get some points here, do something big this game, and maybe leaving things up to chance for the last round to play for endgame. I don't know yet.
Well, they should be able to know that this is 2 solos here if they're tracking the information correctly from the elimination feed. And when you need every point possibly pushing into the top 8, when you have had contention off of the start, you're going to feel a lot better if you're able to kind of pick up those solos, if you're able to kind of track them down. And then you're able to just kind of sit and be like, hey, what if we just kind of camp this reboot ban as now we're going to take a look at some of the other action we might have missed here. So we get another look here of Iamzo just being able to kind of push right up against it, slide in forward, gets the edit, gets to the backside, and a nice cleanup from him there. You can see Aiden trying to find a little bit of space here in the bottom of the bush, and you can see, unfortunately, he will get cleaned up.
Very rough right there. Tries to play the bush to break that line of sight there, but it's not going to be enough here. Iamzo and Degen, hopefully they have not let their guard down. Obviously, there is a solo here. You can tell they're sort of hunting in this general area here. See if someone reveals himself. It's Qua and Magnolia who rotate in from their draw spot just off to the side. And now all of a sudden you have a real problem. You have a healthy, very healthy team just nearby. And mind you, Qua and Magnolia land just west of the Logjam on the outskirts, like right on the mountainside. They play all of that general loot. Honestly, this zone, this season, a lot of teams favoring this mountainous area, this northwest zone. Like, this is where I'd say the biggest population, the biggest combination of pros are, like, all up in this general area. So tons of battles and different clashes we're going to see for sure unfold as we start leaning into the finals.
I absolutely love that area of the map. I put a tweet about it at the start of the season after I finished my Champion League climb. Because can't do it beforehand, otherwise I'll have a couple people landing there. But that one little, the one little fishing spot over there. I think it has somewhere between 12 and 18 fishing spawns that can pop there, as well as the mythic gauntlets right at the top of it. There's like 3 possible chest spawns. There's a sizable amount of metal. I mean, if anything, you can just sit and fish, just like Season of the Olin. It's basically the equivalent of the Flopper Frey Island, but it's so out of the way where as long as you wait just a little bit and people commit from rotating away from the outside, it's just completely free. It's a little bit more difficult to navigate those western side routes when you are in Storm Surge lobbies, because if rotate out there pretty quickly. Luckily, logjam fights will drag on forever in a lot of circumstances. As we see, we will get a little bit of southern love, but it's all the way to the western side, dropping pretty much directly on top of Greasy.
Yeah, definitely. And look at how many players are just on the outside the bubble. Essentially, there's really not that many teams down in the south. Not only do all the congested teams have to rotate on down, but that coast is completely open, and it's kind of what you expect here. As we hop on over to Cam and Bucky, our #1 team here, they've already kind of punched their way to finals, so this fight means really just fun for them at this point. They've gone way out to the coastal lines here, and this is probably just in preparation for a bigger strategy down the line. They're pushing up onto Teed and Turts here. Because they have these mythic web slingers, they can really traverse the map almost freely, and they know how much is left over back at the Bugle if they really have to go back for it. So this storm fight is just better for them now. Cam, though, jumps on over it. Now, I just realized this is probably fluke Cam. I remember Cam being on that team way back when, punching his way to finals. He's a multi-qualled finalist. And all of a sudden, seeing him pair up with Bucky, it's just like you pick up a tier 1, and these other players, you just give them a chance, and all of a sudden now, they are hanging with the Wolves right now. And they are actually leading the pack. So it's really, really cool to see players like Cam just popping off and finding his shine right now.
I was about to say, not just hanging, they're looking like alphas right now, especially pushing that towards the side there. Flu Cam Sam season. Slam season. I don't know, man.
You made that way harder.
Twister. Yeah, I was just about to say, ignore me. I think it ended up just somebody has said the Flu Cam season has arrived, and so far they've looked pretty good. But again, Monster, the conversation at the end of the day, when we look at the leaderboard, first place and 8th place today, they get the exact same thing. They get a trip to the finals. They get a chance to compete for the prize pool. They don't have to worry about the stress about playing again on Sunday and trying to compete with the best of the best. They don't have to worry about that semifinals. They go straight through. And every single one of these duos, if you are remotely into punching distance right now, your eyes are on nothing else. You don't want to be thinking about Sunday. You don't want to be thinking about who else in the game. You want to be thinking about what you can do to put yourself into the top 8, because it is such a sigh of relief if at the end of Game 6, you load up that leaderboard and you see yourself there and you know you're going to be playing for money this season.
Oh, yeah, it's one of the best feelings, especially when these players are live streaming and you get to catch their reactions. You know, those are some of the most heartwarming moments the community actually looks forward to season after season. For NPen and Zemo, though, they're one of those teams. They're one of those teams that are genuinely on the bubble right now. 88 points puts them right around that top 10 sort of seeding. You can see here that they're inside of the 8th spot, currently holding on to it. Very strong. Man, the last time we saw the map, Greasy Grove had 2 teams here. Now we swing on through, and my gosh, the mass migration has begun. Everyone is dogpiling into here, and this is, I would say, pretty much the center of Zone 2, so they're probably going to get 3 and 4 here as well. This is surely... Anyone has surge issues, it's going to become a war zone here really, really quickly.
But right now, everyone else is just going to get a little bit of a rest. You're going to get a little bit of a respite. Try and find some space. There's a little bit more room to be working with right now. Everyone has a duo partner, so no solos who are up, but also no real check on the Storm Surge. So potentially some awkward situations that might end up happening in that 5th zone, because teams don't necessarily know how much damage they need to do or how much damage has been done already. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. Just kind of check that tally mark off in the back of your mind and make sure we check in on it later. But the real question is, I want to know where this 3rd zone pulls, because if we keep going south, there's already going to be a number of teams who have been established and pretty much have taken up already the high ground stuff. Odds are good. Yep, I was just about to say, odds are good. We do continue pulling to that south side, and then we'll probably pull over towards Greasy again, which is why you can see everyone's starting to kind of huddle in towards that POI. Space is going to get at a premium very quick.
Oh yeah, I mean it's already premium real estate. Like if you have a building at this point, you're in the money. If you find some nice brick on this outer edge, you're second best up. Honestly, you want to get a recycle point. You can see there's a couple locations like these right here. Oh, this is a prime one right here. If they can go ahead and park just behind this, it's kind of where you want to be. But no, instead they're going to play for a little bit more center. They want to get inside while the vehicle has HP. They're going to go ahead and take their chances. For Pump and Nani, our second place team right now, holding on here. Definitely looking very, very good, but they have a long way to go to get to this new zone. We saw the vehicle bringing attention to this general side on the rotate, so surely other teams are going to be looking in for foot dwellers. So this is them, and this is the issue that they're going to have to deal with. But if they can make an end game here, they should be another one of our 8 teams that go to finals.
There's so much space on the western side of the map, and you can see them on the bottom right-hand side. They pinged out a number of the teams who's rotating behind them, but they missed the one. I was saying, as long as they are able to recognize that Polarized and Nico are directly behind him, they should just be able to walk into zone. They had pinged out everyone else, but unfortunately, Nani gets stuck up on, and now you're in an awkward spot because you can't really just let these guys go past, right? Like, you have to fight them, but instead, Bank and Unreal are fighting them right now, and if you're pumping Nani, you just need to go. There is still one other duo who's in between you there. Like, I know they want to fight, but there's no reason to. You're guaranteed qual as long as you get into the cascading placement points. Why take the chance?
You're also guaranteed qual if he gets these elims. So
all right, go for it then. You know what? He's better than me anyway.
You know, he's thinking right now, hey man, if we just get these 2, brother, we're making it. Instead, though, the opportunity does not reveal itself, and they go ahead and hit the rotate here. A little worse for Wares now, though. To Sundown's point, they are late to the rotate. Other teams have surely taken up some of the mats on the way in, but there's so many other squads there on the outskirts. Luckily for them, they get here, no one's here, and they managed to find some leftover loot, so they needed the wood as well. They were down to metal and just limited brick at that point, so the wood's going to be a huge come up for them. I guess it worked out, but it could have been a huge risk.
That's exactly what I was saying, because worst case, right, like if you leave and then turn around, there's still the 2 duos behind you who have to rotate into the zone. There was so much space on that western side, they could have just started walking as long as they were aware of that other team who's in front of them, and they just slid around the side and they were good. As now we're going to slide on over another team right on that line inside the top 8 coming into this game, but just barely in 7th place. Ellis and Jock so far only the 1 point from the top 35. They'll get another here in a second once one more duo ends up falling for the top 30, but we did see it pull actually away from Greasy, so tons of open space, only one real slight change in the high ground, but a lot of movement that's going to happen from everybody who kind of took up residential space in the Greasy Grove. They say, no, this big city is too much for me. We want some more of the suburbs out there, and that's going to get built up real quick.
Honestly, it's going to work out for those dead side rotating teams because these mountains are just blocking all that line of sight. They should have a really simple time just kind of rotating wide here. We'll see, though. Kanata and Acorn managed to pull the zone pretty much, and they're effectively hanging right now. And they have a lot of firepower to work with. They're going to be looking for some fresh weekend builds, maybe even some launch pad or some beam out the sky. See if Kanata can find this one. There it is. Little Zaptron right there. Okay, hits a couple shots. Nothing too big, though, to reveal something. Cam and Bucky get through, virtually untouched. Okay, that rarely happens, especially with the weapons that we have in play in the current loot pool. So, you know, things are just working for Cam and Bucky today.
It's working all the way so far in first. Already punched the top 8 spot. Acorn cut it out right on the line for it right now. And you can see Acorn just trying to connect with shots. But that's the tough thing about the Ranger. It is, I would say, the actual skill level on it. And even the skill floor is much higher. They're much more difficult to use. Like, it is very difficult to end up picking up the gun and being able to be good with it, but as soon as you start able to connect those shots, it makes a huge difference. As now we can see teams right on the line. 106 Acorn, top of the screen, bottom of the screen there, bottom right hand corner, who we're going to swing over to it. Nosh, Goofy Goober, trying to get wall to wall right now on the other side. That is Bank and Unreal Anna. We did see them taking the storm fight, currently sitting in 17th, so a big game needed here if they want to push in the top 8, but headshot into a body shot's not going to be the way to do it, as they are a little bit separated there, and some good angles coming out right now from Nosh and Goober.
Yeah, definitely. This is where you want to be right here. Finding an Elam is so huge here. There it is. Two shots come in. Was it his, though, is the real question. As he has to come on over to support his teammate, but no, the wall was open. He gets deleted, and that's because the pressure from the lobby they were looking on in, and although he got the Elam there, they do get taken out the lobby by Edgy, Tahi, Smack, and company on this outskirt here. Iamzo looks like he might have picked up some loot from the side there, and they are big chilling here. Look at this. 3 eliminations for Iamzo and DGen, a team that absolutely needs it here. And not only that, they took out a team that was rivaling them in points. So just if it was a big Elam before, it's an even bigger one now, because now teams that are battling them for that top 8 slot are sniped out of the competition here.
Yeah, but he needs bullets bad, man. He just ran out of his light ammo, and you can see he's probably communicating to the Iamzo, trying to get the tags out there, being like, hey, do you see any light ammo in there? Is there anything we can grab? Because he is literally on empty, and you see a split there, 190. Got to be happy about that. Not actually a split. Oh, no. You can see they're going to have to split it back. So each are going to be rocking about 3 rotations of that Striker SMG, going to be able to push, but with that zone pull all the way to the opposite side, all the way down to the southeast corner, lots of rotations. The western side is going to be pretty open as long as they walk straight. The northern part of this is going to be weird. You can see a number of duos already taking the sky. You can hear those gliders coming down here. As we swing back on board here, this should be a qualifying run if they can put it all together for Kanata and Acorn as he's trying to get wall to wall, trying to get the spray onto the wall, and continue pressuring out, not letting that metal build fully up, using a minimum amount of bullets to break it. As Beef picks up DGen and he goes down, that's a full confirm. Jock ends up picking up Magnolia as we're into our top 25. Cascading placements are going to go down. Storm Surge is turned off yet again, so we'll see what happens in that 7th zone.
Very rarely we see like just this kind of situation in place right now. Big teams that are all fighting for this top 8 spot right now. No one's fully safe just yet, and we're seeing teams that quite honestly are on the bubble getting taken out right now. So this is where the story starts to change. This is where the standings get to open up for other teams that were just outside of there, and it's going to be more and more competitive. It's going to honestly be even more pressure coming into the last game now. So Iamzo with no DGen here is one of those kind of situations we're just talking about. Iamzo has to make a big play here. Not only does he have to out-survive these guys, but he's going to need a couple more Elams to kind of keep up with the pacing of the lobby. No launch pad in hand, but he does have the Mythic Web Slingers to play off of here. On height, though, it's actually Beef and Nick, so it makes sense as why they're picking players off. They can see the entire lobby here. They're in the best spot to be in.
Yeah, right now I just want to hang out with Iamzo, 10th place, trying to find a little bit of room. We'll use 1, 2, 3 of his charges, trying to get a little bit of hard building with wood, and then switching over to the brick. He's going to get a nice little gift over there, though. Going to be able to refresh out and try and just tunnel any of the excess brick forward. Pump end up picking up an Elam onto Cam. That should be enough of a qualification for Pump and Nani now that they're into the late game. So a second team should be able to book its spot, but right now eyes are all on Iamzo. Can he keep his team on that top 8 pace with the solo clutch here? Can he get some of those hero points, the clutch points, the individual effort points of a monster? Right side of the screen, 103 below. Players are dropping, but I don't think they're dropping that fast. Storm Surge turns on in 10 seconds. He has to go.
Yeah, he's looking. You can tell he's looking, but he's picking and choosing his moments that he's trying to find a shot. He does not want to take a duo. He is not trying to challenge any duos. Whenever he sees 2 players, he's actually second-guessing himself and stopping. But now the real pressure is on. The Surge is actually active. 8 players have to go down. Out comes the shotgun. He takes a little bit of fall damage there. Further play, and that was the kind of thing he's been trying to avoid this entire time. Opening up against 2 players, being on the low ground does not make it any better. He has to get up, and he has to get up quick here. He's using the builds instead of the hands. We'll see if it's the right play. And here it is. Desperate time. Big shot right there. That's a white tag. This could be the player he's been looking for right here. Can he get the full finish? One more tag away, and no, he's not going to find it. Doesn't find any points either because no one falls there. So unfortunate for Iamzo. He's close, but not close enough now. It's going to come down to the last game for DGen and Iamzo now. For Acorn and Kanata, though, this could be their round. This could be where they punch their way all the way through.
Close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades, and there's no grenades in the competitive playlist, and the animals in Fortnite are llamas. Let's go as Acorn and Canada try and confirm their spot here. 124, but they're making it through. Pump already has gotten it, as well as they're into our top 13. Hopping on board here, this is our high ground duo, Nick and Beef. 68 points and climbing as yet another placement point ends up ticking over. We're into our top 10 and only one solo as the rest have their duos up as Nani and Pump fall, but that should have been enough for their qualification. But it's Acorn who ends up dropping him down, so that elimination plus the placement point should also put him in the top 8. The question is, who else can close the gap? Our 9th place team currently, Visuals and TK working top to bottom. Visuals trying to find a little bit of an angle as they now have complete high ground control.
Definitely a sleeper team right there, popping up out of nowhere right now. Another big game to push teams that are outside on in. Kanata and Acorn, though, still tearing it up right now. Look at the points here, 137, and they look like they're not going to stop just yet. As I say that, though, Acorn gets sidelined here, waiting for Kanata, who was on the backside, but Kanata, right-hand peek is just a little bit better. He can tell that player didn't have much builds. He was just playing a little slow, but all these heals, Kanata's instead sit back. He's going to wait it out. He knows exactly how much time he has to work with there. Mythic hands are tempting, but no. Goes against his better judgment there, decides stick to the script here. I'm going to go on and wait it out. Beautiful angle now, jumps on in. That's a blue tag, turns around, but could not close out. No highlight for him. Instead, it's threats and users up top. 5, make that 6 elims now, and NPen goes down. Here comes the closeout. All they have to do is finish it off. You can hear the silence set in as they realize, yeah, we got this Victory Royale. We'll wait it out here. The pressure is going to come in, and this should be all she wrote here. They start to pressure it out. Too much time is on the zone here, Sundown. You best believe they're going to win this one.
Yeah, but no more light ammo for threats. So, I mean, unless he wants to chuck ADS shotgun shots into the zone, he can just kind of watch and hope users will be able to close it out. Users was able to pick up a just disgusting triple elimination to give them the high ground control, and ultimately they'll ride that out as yet again high ground will take individual performance.
Those big highlights there. Shout out to TK and Visuals, managed to take that high ground early on, and then here goes threats and users who closed that game out, pushed themselves officially into that triple-digit mark with their 7 elimination game. Now, mind you, 3 points for Elim, guys. 7 times 3 is 21 points, plus a 32 for the Victory Royale. Big games. That was game 5. Game 6 is going to be the finals. Who is going to push this top 8 now?
Top 8 is all that matters. One more match to go. We've seen some incredible individual efforts, and we've seen people come just close. NAE so far has been the story of tiebreakers. So to set up that story going into the final match, we're going to kick it back on over the desk. Vivid, SBG, Adam, what do you got for us?
We've got it all here because we are relishing the finale there. Threats doing a superb job to maintain, get the Victory Royale. But the guys said it, you know, we are at the last part, the last chance now. Game 6 coming up, where the top 8 going through with the first finalists going through to that grand finals in March, which is really exciting. Let's break down the game quickly though as well. Fantastic. We saw a lot of teams trying to take the high ground again, Vivid, and it paid off in this particular instance.
Yeah, seeing the domination from Bucky in the first 2 games from the high ground has inspired a lot of players, clearly. And time again, we just see these games finishing out in kind of the same scripted way, right? We see the Stinger SMGs applying too much pressure for these players on the low ground that they can handle, right? They just don't have enough builds to give up with the high fire rate of these SMGs, and including the MK7s getting thrown in there as well. And high ground just ends up being a walk in the park for anybody that is up there.
Yeah, there were so many teams in that game that made their play for that top 8 spot. We saw teams like Kanata make a push in there, maybe secure that top 8. Then there was like NPen and Zemo, the last team threats that was able to take the dub. So many of these players were just jockeying for that last few spots, and it's going to be so close. I don't even want to look at the leaderboard because there's going to be so many teams that are right there from 6 to like 12. They're only going to be a few points away from one another.